Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome once again, as always, to another helping of Mr H's Hot Pot. You joined me today on a bit of a bimble, my first one for 2024. And I've come today to a little wooded area that's right at the side of the East Lancs Road, just outside of Ashton in Makerfield. Pretty close to Haydock for anybody who knows the geographical area. It's about 7 miles away from my hometown of Wigan. And today, Hot Potters, I'm on a bit of a mission. I'm on a mission to try and locate an old World War II air raid shelter that lies in this area. Now, I know about this World War II air raid shelter because one of my subscribers, stroke viewers, a fellow by the name of Lee Hurley, who does a lot of walking and mooching about in woods like myself, has told me about it. He messaged me in one of my last videos and said that he knew about this location if I was interested. Of course, I messaged him back and he's emailed me the rough location of where it is. Now, typically Lee, typically Mr H, I've gone via the scenic route to find this. I've done more walking than I really needed to do. However, I have managed to find it. As I say, that's typically Mr H, as Mrs H would confirm if she was here. Now, this whole area that's behind me, originally, before the East Lancs was built, was a colliery area. It was known as Blackbrook Colliery, and I think it was also known as Garswood Park Pit, not to be confused with Garswood Pit over in Abram. I'll put a map up for you now, a screenshot, and you'll be able to see the area that we're now having a mooch in. Now, the remains of Blackbrook Colliery lie beneath a traffic island today. There's no remains whatsoever. But this air raid shelter does remain, and I think that this was part of an escape route should the Luftwaffe ever have come over bombing it, because collieries would have been a legitimate target during the Second World War. Now, there has been a bit of debate online as to what this is. Some people say it's a drainage tunnel. Others say it's an escape tunnel for some reason, and it leads to a church. I can confirm that it's actually a Stanton World War II air raid shelter, which I'll put a photograph of what one will look like without any earth covering it. So, Hot Potters, without further ado, let's take a look at this air raid shelter from World War II, the location kindly provided by Lee Hurley. And there it is, Hot Potters. You'd easily miss that if you didn't know it was here. And this is how close it is to the East Lancs. You can just see traffic passing there. And the part that we're now looking at will be the back of the air raid shelter, where the ventilation shaft would be, to let in a little bit of ventilation back in the day. We'll now make our way around that path there, and to where there's an opening and you can get inside it. We'll take a look at it and we'll assess. We'll do a quick risk assessment and see if it's worth going in and doing an explore. There's all the soil and trees growing at the side of it. And these Stanton air raid shelters are now very rare, because most of them have either been demolished or, as Lee Hurley has warned against, they've been filled in, because they don't want people going inside them in this health and safety mad world that we live in. Back in the day, you would have been encouraged to go and play in them, but not anymore. And this is where you can now get into this shelter. There is a video online of one fella in the summer deciding to come down and take a look in here. But as you can see, they're a prefabricated construction, and basically what they would have done is they would have formed them archways from two halves and bolted them at the top, and then they'd be in section. So we'll take a quick look inside. It does look a bit grim, Hot Potters, but I have brought a torch with me, a very powerful torch. So I think I will risk trying to get inside there in a moment. We'll just take a look at the ventilation shaft on the outside. And I think this is roughly where the entranceway would be. Very crisp this morning, Hot Potters, but it's very sodden around here due to all the wet weather that we've been having. And here we go, just step round this. This would have been the ventilation shaft. It's been blocked up, it's been bricked up, that, according to form. But that would have provided fresh air down into the shelter whilst there was an air raid going on. Anyway, we'll make our way back to that opening and we'll see if Mr. H can clamber down inside. So here we are, Hot Potters. I've managed to scramble down and get down. I'll show you how you climb down in a minute. Dodgy this, it really is. The things I do for you, Hot Potters. And there's somebody spraying along the top. You will see me along the top there. That's a bit ominous, isn't it? I have managed to bring a little torch with me, somewhere in my pocket. There we go. That should give us some light to the end. It isn't all that long really, but when you're inside it seems forever, doesn't it? Right, I'll whip the camera round and we'll take a look inside the shelter. And that's how I climb down, using that reinforcing. As I say, pretty dodgy. Got some trees that have been thrown down here. And then you can see how it was formed. Built in sections, bolted together at the top, and then the concrete rings come archways would then be probably mortared together and then bolted. And there's a name that's been scratched into the side there, Curly. No idea if that's World War II graffiti or whether it's after World War II. Probably after. Anyway, let's make our way down there, Hot Potters. This is where we end up finding something we don't want to. But imagine being down here in this very claustrophobic setting whilst bombers were flying overhead. Now another theory is that this shelter was also here to serve nearby our air dock. And you can just make out the bricked up entranceway and the ventilation shaft that was above earlier. And you can see the steps there that would have led down into this shelter at one time. Obviously it's been bricked up and covered with soil. And surprisingly, it's in good condition. Concrete floor isn't too bad. Obviously someone's been down here drinking Foster's, bit of a vintage Foster's can. It's a long time since that was drank. But this, Lee, is your air raid shelter. As you can see, it's definitely not a drainage tunnel as some people would have you believe in other forums. Right then, I'm going to make my way back down there now, and hopefully I'll be able to clamber out of this old shelter. Well, Hot Potters, here I am, back on the surface. I'll tell you what, I'm getting too old for this game, or I've had too much Christmas pudding, one of the two. Toby, if you're watching this video, don't do the daft tricks that your dad does. Do as I say, not as I do, lad. No doubt Mrs H will give me a bit of an ear bashing for going down there on my own. The things I do for you guys. Anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap this video up here. It was just a quick look at this old World War II air raid shelter that Lee Hurley told me about recently, that's right at the side of the East Lancs Road. So, until the next time, from myself, Mr H, it is bye-bye for now.